I've learned to speak the male language. It's actually my superpower. Now, given my personal life experiences, that's quite surprising, even to me. If you've not heard my story, listen to episode 1 of a Wise Woman's Guide podcast. I can easily pick up on a man's body language and the smallest changes in the whites of his eyes. Sometimes I know what he's thinking and feeling before he does. He may not use many words, but his body speaks volumes, always revealing the truth about what he's experiencing. One man told an audience at a seminar that it was a little scary how well I understood men. They couldn't hide in my office, at least not from me. My validation of a man's experience felt reassuring to him and made him feel vulnerable. My goal was to teach his wife how to do that with her own husband. When she did, everything about their marriage improved rapidly. On the other hand, it's almost impossible to teach men about women. Their lack of success in being able to implement what they learn reminds me of the one time I took a ski lesson back in Breckenridge, Colorado. I did great on the bunny slope. Everything the instructor said made perfect sense to me. In fact, I was the star student in our little group. We moved to an easy slope, and he encouraged me to go first. Now, no one had told me anything about moguls. I hadn't even heard of them, much less learned what to do when you hit one. Now, I gotta admit, this was an itty-bitty bump, but it sent me into panic mode. I felt out of control. I couldn't remember how to plow, much less how to stop. So I headed straight for a big pile of snow on the side of the run. I don't know how I was able to manage to get myself going in that direction, but stopping was my default mode, and I knew how to default. Like me on the bunny slope, many a man I've worked with has been a star student, as long as his wife wasn't present. Then he'd try to apply the information and skills I'd taught him, but he was still operating in red light, yellow light mode. He was aware of his emotional moguls. He'd already hit them so many times without knowing what to do. So the first time he tried to use the skills, he was already in yellow light mode, even with me in the room. Because he was hypersensitive to his wife's responses, as soon as she seemed displeased or angry, he shut down, plowed right into the nearest snowbank. As he looked to me for help, the expression on his face was like a deer caught in the headlights. Wait, is that me mixing metaphors, or am I okay with that one since Colorado has a lot of snow and a lot of deer? The bottom line on men learning to understand women: we're not that complicated. Yes, we use language differently, and we approach life and problems differently. No, men are not stupid or dense. They really want to learn. They're eager to learn. However, in the application, their overwhelming sensitivity to their wives overrides their ability to think clearly and respond differently every time, making it impossible for them to lead the charge for change. Now, that's clearly not true of all men, but in all my clinical work, only 4 men were able to keep their sensitivity in check well enough to respond differently. One was a senior pastor, one worked in the entertainment industry, and 2 were highly successful businessmen. You could argue that these men simply refined their defenses. That's likely very true. Even so, their wives continued to struggle because none of the wives had been able to see or understand their husband's vulnerabilities and put that understanding to use in building a stronger marriage. To put it simply, had these men and their wives been equally invested in understanding one another at that deep level, both they and their marriages would be fireproof. Nothing would be able to stand against them.